Alright, today I'm going to be doing a brake job on a simple 2002 Lexus IS300. Pretty simple brake job, but I'll go through it with you. I've been getting a little bit of noise at certain times, like a squeal, like the brake pad, little indicators starting to grind, so I'm going to go ahead and inspect the brakes and see what I find, and then go from there. It sounds like I'm just going to need pads and rotors, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and pop the lug nuts off. I've actually got the car jacked up and secured. Okay, and then taking a look at the caliper, it looks like it's going to be a 14 millimeter to pop off just the caliper, but we're going to need to get the bracket off as well. It's looking like probably a 17, so I'll go ahead and do those now and then see what the pads are looking like. As of right now, this rotor looks fine. It's smooth there. Feels smooth on the back side, so the noise might be coming from the other side, but we'll see. Alright, and then I got the passenger side apart here. You can see what the actual issue ended up being, as brake pads worn down enough to where it rubs. It wasn't a consistent rubbing like you often see, so I actually was thinking wheel bearing because my stopping was normal and everything like that, but obviously it was wrong. So there's the pad. You can see the indicators, right to the point where it'll start making noise. And then it was on the back, of course, so you see all the grooving here. So I'm going to be looking at either getting new rotors or just getting these turned. Haven't decided yet. And then I also went ahead and looked at the caliper bracket here. You can see the sliders here. They're basically seized. So the reason that this happened is probably because whoever did the brake job last didn't grease these up. Because these pads are actually pretty new. Like here's the outer pad. They're Duralast ones, so they're AutoZone ones. So it's obviously just a do-it-yourself type of person who did it, but they apparently didn't know about using brake grease here on these. So I'll be doing that, and hopefully you won't have the same issue. Alright, and here's my resurfaced rotors and my ceramic brake pads. These are just parts store ceramic, so they're nothing special. Obviously the rotors are just regular OEM style rotors, but I just got them resurfaced. Okay, and before I go ahead and put the rotor and the caliper and bracket and all that back on, I'm going to wire brush the hub here. And the reason I do that, there's some rust built up, so just want to kind of get that off of there, at least ground down a little, so that it doesn't end up seizing to there. These luckily weren't seized to there, but I've had it many times where they'll seize, so that's why I'm doing that. Just give it a quick scrubbing, and I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of anti-seize there. Not a lot, just enough. Just enough to keep it from seizing up on me. And I'm going around this hub very much because a lot of times that's where they seize up. And also right here. This helps for the wheel as well, so the wheel doesn't get seized to the hub also. Something else that I do is you should also be taking these slider pins out and greasing them up. This one is actually kind of hard to get out, so not much grease on that guy, so I'm going to go ahead and grease these up with a little bit of brake grease. And there's stuff specifically made for it. You can get it at any parts store, just ask for it at the counter. But I'm going to slather it onto there and then stick it in there, make sure it moves in and out nice and easily giggity, and then from there You know, it'll keep from caliper sticking or uneven wear, that kind of thing. And basically, here's a caliper pin. I'm just gonna take some of the brake grease, get it on there real nice like, and put that bad boy in here. Make sure it moves in and out nice and smooth. Same thing with this one. I'm gonna do the same here. I'm gonna go ahead and put it there. Make sure it goes in and out nice and easy, which it does. Moving it in and out a few times to make sure it stays nice. Alright, and if you look, there's some shims there, or little, I forget the exact name, but they're basically little shims there for the brake pads. They just hold the pads in place. I always like to clean them off, just basically just spray them with brake cleaner. It's not a necessity, but it's something that I like to do. And of course, your rotor as well, but don't really need to do that till the end. And then with the brake pads, I also like to put some of the grease on the ears, so right there and right there. I go ahead and pop it in here. Alright, so you can see here, calipers on the IS300 are dual piston. So what I'm going to do is compress them both together. Some people like to open up the bleeder while doing this. I never do. I've never had issues. So I mean, kind of do it at your own risk. Some people say it'll mess up the master cylinder, the caliper, or whatever, but I've never had issues, so this is the way I do it. But there's obviously nothing wrong with opening up the bleeder too. And the way I'm going to do it to get them both to compress, I'm going to use a big C-clamp, but I'm also going to use the old brake pad and put it up right against the two and then clamp it down together so it starts, you know, closing all down at the same time. Otherwise you'll get one going down and then it'll pop the other one out and things like that, and it's just annoying. So I'll show you how we go ahead and do that in just a sec. Alright, so you can kind of see there in the shot, hopefully, how I got the clamp there and the brake pad. Basically I have it reversed from what it would normally do. Normally I'd have it coming from this way, flipped over, but there's no cut here, so just doing it like this. Alright, so there's the finished product. New brake pads, rotors resurfaced, everything greased up, so hopefully it won't have any sticking. And right now, since my hands are greasy and I was touching the rotor, I'm going to go ahead and just give it a quick spray down with some brake cleaner. I got that. Then I'm also going to put a little bit of anti-seize on the head of the rotor here. It's pretty rusty already, but it's just help from the wheel. Alright, Alright, so something unfortunate happened while I was putting this side back together. The driver's side, the side that actually had the stuck caliper, or it was just dragging. The little slider bolts that go in here, that one came up fine. It was a little seized because there's like no grease in there. The one up top, it was pretty stuck, so I put a ratchet on and started turning it, and it just snapped right off. And you probably can't really even see it in there, but the end is snapped off, so I had to go to the parts store and get a new caliper bracket because it's seized in there. I'm not even going to bother with drilling it out or anything like that. So I got to get this off, swap over the rubber grommets to the new one. I also got new caliper pins because obviously one snapped off, so yeah. Okay, so this is actually what I ended up with on my driver's side. I ended up buying a new caliper. Reason for that is when I was putting the caliper back on, I noticed that the hose was sitting all funny. And I took a closer look and noticed that it was actually upside down. There's a little tab right there that holds it in place. That was actually sticking the complete opposite way. It was sticking outwards as opposed to on the caliper. So the hose was sitting all funny. So I switched that around, then went to bleed the brakes, and the bleeder screw snapped off. So I tried to extract it, wasn't able to do it successfully, so unfortunately went out and bought a new caliper. So I just got done putting that on, bled the brakes, and now it's finally good to go. This was way more of an ordeal than I really needed, but it's done, so yeah.